Welcome to another episode of Jewish Softball More Than a Game, where the stories on the diamond go deeper than the box scores. This is our first softball episode as part of the Shalom Sluggers University segment. I'm your host, Maddie Lewis, joined by co-host Arizona Richie. In this episode, we dive into the story of Tara Vandewater, hailing from Winterset, Iowa. Tara was a competitive two-sport athlete in high school, earning all conference honors all 4 years in volleyball. She opted to play club travel ball over traditional high school softball for the Nebraska Gold organization, earning herself a scholarship to play at one of the top Power 4 programs in the country, Oklahoma State. Entering her sophomore year, T will be bringing her talents to Creighton University, where we know she's going to tear it up for the Blue Jays. Not only is she a rising star in collegiate softball, but Tara proudly represents her heritage as a Tribe NIL member. Shout out to our guy, Jeremy Moses, and the new NIL collective he launched this summer. Additionally, T is an unbelievable catcher for the Israeli women's national team and continues to turn heads behind the plate and in the box. Not to mention, she's an incredibly hard worker and a complete team player. T, thank you for joining us today. How's everything going? Tell us all about Creighton.
Yes, thank you. We just got back from fall break. It is a lot colder now, but I am definitely enjoying the Midwest fall again. I missed that last year, but even like my roommate and I, she's from Michigan. We're both just so excited to be back. Nice, cool sweater weather, all that good stuff.
What'd you do for fall break?
Messed up my sleep schedule, hitting pretty late, sleeping and being home, which was nice.
I feel like whenever you're hitting, it's always like at like 10 p.m. So tell us a little bit about how you got on that schedule and who you're hitting with and why it's so late. And are you just like eat, sleep, hit, and then do it all again the next day?
Yeah. So my hitting coach's name is Mike Jensen. I've been hitting with him for probably since I was like 12, I think. But I've just kind of grown up with him. He's just been my biggest role model, and it started just as a normal hour lesson about maybe like once a week, and then once I could drive, especially like in high school, I think it started my sophomore year, I wanted more than just an hour. He's like, all right, well, you're going to have to go last in the day, whenever that is. I'm like, all right, okay. So it's gotten to the point where I will leave my house at like 7. It's about an hour drive, so it'll be about 8 o'clock once I get up to Des Moines. I will get some sort of meal and snack and energy drink, bring those to the facility, 8:30-ish, not 8:45. Be back. There's a little spot behind his cage for a desk and like computer and a chair and whatnot. So I'll be back there watching the rest of his lessons get done around 10, 10:30, maybe pushing 11. And then I'll start, half of it is talking about whatever or watching whatever game is on. Of course, now the World Series is on, but get done to push 3 sometimes in the morning and then drive home. And then one of the days during fall break, there's this bakery in Winterset and they just make the best donuts in the world. Nothing compares to them. So I get home at like probably I think 3:45. They open up at 5:30. I was like, you know what? Screw it. So I stayed up until 5:15, drove in and got myself some donuts and then went to bed till like noon. And that was my night/day.
Sane person. I feel like that's such a Tara story though.
It's
Like
I
I'm
was
not
just
I'm not
thinking that.
surprised.
Just thinking that. Tara is like an anomaly of a human being. How many
Yeah,
times would you do that?
high school, it'd probably be like 3 days, but at that point I had to wake up, back up at 6 in the morning. So I wouldn't, the latest I'd get home was like 1, maybe 2. So now, being back for break, we're pushing the limits.
Yeah.
I feel like
Has your brain like fully developed because you need to sleep for that?
Well, I question now if my lack of sleep is why I'm so short.
Hey, I'm a night owl too, so
okay, I love my sleep. I'm not that tall though.
that's true.
I don't know.
Correlation does not mean causation, people.
So I feel like that kind of work ethic, I mean, it obviously separates like the good players, even like the great players from the best players, right? And you're definitely in that category of like elite athletes. So where does that work ethic come from? Who instilled that in you? How did that mindset kind of come about for you?
Yeah. think it all started from my parents. They both played sports in college. My mom was a goalie, Colorado State, Pueblo is D2 school. And then my dad played football at a university that's no longer here, but Westmore in Iowa, and then their work ethic translated to my brother and I. And my brother's 4 years older than me. So I grew up going to all of his baseball games. And then I had to get into some sports and led me to softball. I knew from the beginning, especially like 10U, I was playing with a bunch of kids that were a lot bigger than me and just more developed. And I think just seeing at that point what just a little bit of extra work did, seeing that in the little spurts, it just kind of flourished throughout my life. And even in academics too, I think the athletics and academics coincide with each other, just seeing how the work does pay off in the end for the most part. And even if it doesn't, you don't see it for a while, you get that delayed gratification. You learn a lot from it. Just in general, there's so much you learn from just pursuing, athletics like this. And even now, and the level, like I would not be learning all the stuff I am now if it wasn't for softball.
Yeah, absolutely. I also want to point out that aside from your work ethic, you are probably one of the most athletic people I've ever met, like naturally. And I feel like a lot of times with those people, they don't have the work ethic to match it because they can kind of like skate by on their athleticism. So it is like really, really special that you have both at a very high caliber.
And let's not forget that, you're a 4-year all-conference volleyball player as well in high school. How did you balance multiple sports and, what ultimately made you decide softball and kind of fall in love with the sport?
Yeah, I knew from the start softball was it. Volleyball allowed me to be a part of my high school. In Iowa, you can play varsity softball as an eighth grader just because of playing in the summer. You start practice in May and then you go till July, I believe. And so my eighth grade year in that winter, and then going into what would have been March of 2020 was COVID. And the Iowa High School Athletic Association had not decided yet if they were going to play softball and baseball. And so I knew that club ball was going to be played in Texas, down in the southern states where they didn't have the regulations. And I knew that bottom line, club ball was going to be played. So from there, like I knew I wanted to get recruited out of state. And so I had the ultimatum given to me and I said, you know what, I'm going to play club ball and I'm going to see where that leads me. And then going into high school, I wanted to keep playing volleyball. I had played club as well for volleyball. I stopped that my sophomore year for club, but I continued all 4 years with the high school team. And I think just being a part of the community in that aspect, my home is not very big. Everybody knows everybody. And I just wanted to be a part of it in some way, and if you see me rolling around, that's from being a libero. So
Okay, have you ever in any sports ever experienced like performance anxiety? Because I think one of the main things that stands out about you as a player is your composure all the time. You never look flustered. You're always pretty under control, besides when you're yelling at your shortstop in but I know firsthand because people have said that about me. I know firsthand that that doesn't always like reflect what's going on inside a player's brain. So I was just curious. I think it'd be helpful for maybe other players that could possibly be listening to this to hear your experience on that.
yeah, absolutely. I think especially playing club ball in high school with the aspect of social media like it was for the recruiting part. I wouldn't say I was heavily involved in social media, but enough and my name got around there and the Nebraska area knew me in Iowa. And I think a little bit here and there playing high school volleyball came with a little bit of that anxiety, knowing that that was my only way to show the community my athleticism and what I can do. And it didn't show all of it, obviously, because I'm not playing my main sport. But I think the main thing is just understanding the work you put into it. If the work is there and you've prepared yourself in that way, then there's only so much anxiety you can have, or at least should have. And then I think the other half of it is just, repeating it yourself in your brain like, you got this, F it, who cares, you're you, screw them.
Yeah, a mantra was always like super helpful for me to get back to being regulated, Maddie.
Yes. I feel like it comes in waves too. Like, I mean, I was always told like you gotta fake it till you make it, right? So,
Yep.
there are some days where even if it shows that you're not dealing with it, like it's still very prevalent, but you just hope that, kind of like to your point, that all your hard work and the repetitions and just having that strong mental capacity to kind of get through the bad days, you know?
So, Team Israel, is there a different feeling that you have? Like, was there more anxiety, less anxiety playing for the Israeli national team? And you can take that wherever you want to.
No, there is not the normal anxiety. There's not really much at all because of how great of an environment that it is. I started my freshman year of high school just playing for the international challenge team. And immediately from that first time I met with everybody, especially the coaches, Palmer and Wolfter. Team Israel is just filled with the most amazing people ever. And it, especially throughout the recruiting process, it kind of just felt like the game it used to be. We're just playing ball. We're here to, represent something bigger than ourselves. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, was just knowing that there's, especially with everything going on in Israel, there is so much more to play for than just me and the girls around us. There's so much more to play for.
Well said. Agree.
Yeah, I think we can all agree, especially, I mean, everyone we've interviewed has essentially said the same thing. So I think, we're all in it for the right reasons, which you feel when we're all together. And for, the players that are graduated, what is there, like 4 or 5 of us?
I want a Zoom call. Oh,
Hi, teammates.
this
Hey!
is this is Keegan.
Hi, Keegan.
Yes, both. Sure. Sorry.
No problem. Oh, good.
Yeah,
But I'm just trying to say, like, the reason we keep coming back is because it's so fun. Like, we all love being around each other, and, we don't get to practice every single day with the team, but you just know that that one week or the 2 weeks that we get to be together, it's going to be like some of the best memories we've ever been part of.
Yeah,
absolutely.
literally that 1 or 2 weeks keeps us coming back.
I want to step back and we can come back to Israel, but you recently transferred to Creighton. What inspired the move, and what are you looking forward to most in this next chapter of your collegiate career?
I think looking back on it now, Oklahoma in general, the state was not for me, even just with the weather aspect. I like the Midwest. I'll stay here for the rest of my life if I can. Just that in itself, I love being close to home. And I was used to Omaha a little bit and Nebraska, playing club ball here. Knew the area from that. Definitely not the downtown aspect with some of the hooligans we see at our field. But I mean, that's a whole separate thing. But no, I just didn't feel like, I was going to truly end up being the best that I could on and off the field, and I just knew there was more that was out there, and I wasn't going to get that at Oklahoma State. So I pretty much knew it once the season was over with. And then Coach Wood called me almost immediately. And off the bat, I wasn't too for sure if I was going to have any interest whatsoever. But I got down, drove over that week, I think on that Friday. It was just my mom and I, and we took a little tour. It was quick, but they had showed me a brand new turf field with a beautiful backdrop and, the whole downtown Omaha and all the rest of the facilities. And my mom and I sat down for like a late lunch, and we are kind of like, yeah, I can't really pass this up. I can't. And I'm very glad I didn't, because it is all I could have asked for.
That's awesome. I just got some chills. And I think you should be proud of yourself too, especially with the whole NIL and transfer portal environment that college sports is kind of in right now. Like I didn't have to deal with it, but I can't imagine. And so I think, you need to give yourself some grace and be proud of making that decision and knowing like I'm going to be okay and I'm going to find my place. And maybe Oklahoma State just wasn't the right fit, but you ultimately trusted the whole process and look where you are now.
Yeah, and I can tell you I had no thought in my mind that I would have transferred. No, like going into it, I mean, I had been, fully an OSU fan. Even before the recruiting process started, like my junior year, September 1st, I was kind of like, yeah, it was my dream school, and it was the place where I thought I was gonna live it up for the 4 years, and even maybe stay down there. But it just was not what I wanted it all to be, wanted the end goal to be.
Think that's also what's so cool about Israel softball is like seeing the younger kids grow up. I mean, you're not that much younger, but I'm just saying we saw you when you were
At
in high school.
16 or
Yeah,
17. Like that's
and
crazy.
it was just like, yeah, she's gonna go to Oklahoma State, and we knew that as soon as we met you. So, it's just really cool to look back on, and it makes it all more grateful to be part of this organization, to see, players like yourself kind of grow up, and just the way you talk and carry yourself, like you didn't do that 5 years ago. Well,
I know.
you've been a little bit more mature than most, I would say, but still just like it's inspiring for me too, T. So I'm happy to
Yeah,
be part of the journey.
Thank you.
agreed. Ditto. I was just gonna ask Creighton, what is something that stands out about their culture that like would draw people in watching you guys, or like being a fly on the wall with your team?
I think we can have a good laugh. Like there's just some things here and there, especially with the coaching staff. We have a quite a young coaching staff, and I think they balance each other very well. It's funny to see their interactions at times, having a good laugh. Like we're a big family, and it just makes it so exciting to be at the field every day. I never know what somebody's gonna like greet me with in the morning, if there's gonna be some random word that everybody's saying, or some vocal cue. Like the stuff some of the girls say, it's crazy, and whatever's on social media and whatnot. But no, it's very fun to be around.
That's awesome. Like a pattern for you has kind of been like with your hitting coach at home, like surrounding yourself with people that make you want to come back. Like that's probably contributed a lot to your passion for the game and your work ethic. So that's really cool.
What would you say are your goals for this season? And I only mentioned that you play catcher for Israel, but she also plays probably any position you could put her in. Yeah, well, what would you say like you're focusing on this season in particular?
I think the main thing I just want to do is go out and play. I didn't really do that last year, and just being able to be on the field, be where my feet are, just play the game on a bigger stage consistently. I think I'm really excited to see that, and just having the sense of having never arrived, whatever happens to me and where softball takes me and whatnot, like always becoming, never stop growing, and just being a student of the game, and whatever accolades come with that, I'm good with. But just seeing whatever I can learn, and whatever places I can go to, and all that. I'm not totally used to the East Coast. I'll see what that has in store for me, but just being able to play, I'm so excited. Bottom line.
Talk to us about the Tribe NIL Collective, which Edith is a part of as well. What is it, and how do you feel it helps you stay connected to your Judaism?
Yeah, so I was presented with the idea well, I guess it was from Edith. She kind of had the connection. She just told me it was a group of 50 Jewish athletes, and it is just a NIL collective to represent the Jewish athletes on the collegiate level. So it's funny, I'll get a lot of WhatsApp notifications from that group chat, with different deals. There were like Air Forces that were Dead Star David and
That was
whatnot.
my next question for you, if you got those.
I did not. I missed my chance to grab those. But there's just a lot of different opportunities to promote, our heritage, and then just help other athletes as well. We have to either help with, different younger kids groups and whatnot. Just giving back to the community is a huge part of it. And I'm very excited to do with Edith, and not only that, I met two Jewish athletes already here at Creighton at a Catholic school, which is very fun. I love them. But there's a whole separate WhatsApp group chat that is every Jewish athlete that Jeremy can find. And he just tosses them in the group chat. I don't know how many there
So
are
cool.
now, but it is literally every single Jewish athlete he can find. And so I think it's really cool to have something like that just sitting on my phone if I ever need to contact anybody. Really cool to be a part of.
Yeah, I feel like Maddie, you would agree with this. I would have loved to have something like that for sure. I was like, wow, I'm the only Jewish person in the world that plays a sport.
You should launch an alumni one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'll add in, and I just say the overwhelming support, Jewish support in the Omaha area has been incredible. I like as soon as the graphic came out that I had signed, so many different Jewish people from around not even the Omaha area, but just Nebraska in general. They're all like, "Hey, if you need anywhere, if you want a meal at any point, like our home is your home." And that has been really cool to see.
That is amazing.
Who knew that there were so many Jewish people in Omaha?
Yeah, I would not have guessed that.
It's all about connections and like building your community. And I feel like especially like your Jewish community just makes it kind of like reassures what you're doing is like the right thing. You know what I mean? Like obviously there's a lot of like politics and unrest and all that going on. And I mean, the other day I found myself, I'm meeting a bunch of new people in San Francisco, right? So sometimes I'm a little hesitant to say that I'm on the Israeli national team. One, people don't understand how that's possible. But two, obviously with everything going on, it can be kind of interesting subject. I don't know what way they're going to take it, you know? But, you know, when you're able to share that kind of experience with you guys and your community, it makes it a little bit, you can digest it a little bit more and like feel proud in it.
Absolutely.
Something cool about the tribe NIL, I think right now there's like a lot of prejudice against Jewish people and like who we are, and like people don't really understand where we come from and that we're just regular people right now. And I feel like Tribe NIL is really showing the world and the younger generation that we are normal people. And I think they're doing a really good job of like representing young Jewish athletes in that way and kind of trying to like break down those prejudices in this political climate. So that I've really enjoyed seeing like I have their newsletter on my email. So I've enjoyed seeing like, okay, Jewish people are just in the normal like circles of life, you know? So that's cool.
What's been one of the most eye-opening experiences so far representing Israel on the international stage?
That's an easy one. I'll share from my side of it as much as I can, kind of share Edith's perspective as well. But we played this past July in the Canada Cup, and let's see, what that would have been 2025. Yeah. 2024, neither I or Edith participated in it just for various reasons. We were playing what team in New Zealand? Yep, New Zealand. It was a night game. I think it was maybe 3 games into it. And I had played in the Canada Cup before, I think in 2023. And it was very cool. It's a very cool experience in Vancouver. They run a very good tournament and they bring in a lot of good competition. They had a lot of protesters. And during our night game, we just had an overwhelming amount. And it was the first time I had really ever experienced it in that numbers, years back. I mean, we had flags, maybe 1 or 2 Palestinian flags. I couldn't tell you the exact amount of people that were there, but they had megaphones, they had music, not really music, but other sounds. They ended up messing with the scoreboard and they were just a very large disturbance and no one could really do anything about it. In the moment, it didn't totally affect me. At least I couldn't feel it affecting me. However, since I was catching, I could see all of them out in center field and left. I could see them the entire time during the game. And so after that game, we went up to kind of the bar area to get food as a team. And I went to the bathroom and it kind of just all the adrenaline came rushing. And I was like, oh my God, like that was crazy. I've never experienced anything like that and just filled with emotion. And sure enough, Edith walked through the door and she was pretty caught off guard by what had happened as well. And both kind of looked at each other like, oh my God, what did we just go through? And so I knew we weren't going to be okay in the next minute. So I grabbed her and we went out the back and we sat on kind of the outside part for I think close to half an hour, just kind of breathing and figuring out like how we're going to process this and take it all in. I mean, we were bawling our eyes out. We just did not know what we had just experienced and what it all meant. And, I mean, we didn't do anything in Israel to cause any of this conflict, but we are branded by it. And so we got caught up in it and we gathered ourselves and we went back to our rooms at night. And again, we thought about it a lot, but just I didn't realize how much emotion could go into one single game and, how much the conflict could really get this close to me and this close to home.
Yeah, that was tough. Let's all take a breath.
I just got brought back there, and I feel like it was also really heavy this year at Euros too, the effects that we were feeling from the conflict and stuff. And Maddie and I had experienced a protest in Canada the year that you didn't play with us. And then fast forward to the one you're talking about, I kind of got freaked out because I was like, holy crap, I think I'm like numb to this right now. So you and Edith actually like sharing how you felt as like seeing it for the first time kind of like snapped me back into reality of like this is really heavy and like we're being demonized for being Jewish. And yeah, I don't know really what else to say, but your experience with Edith and like seeing your emotion definitely kind of made me feel again. So I hate that you went through that and had those emotions, but I do think it was like it's good that you show your team that, you know.
And that you can share it here too. I think that's also very important. We're back to the whole NIL thing and what they're doing at Tribe. Like, we're just normal people that want to play the game we love and want to represent who we are. So I know.
And should be, especially these international settings, like is supposed to be a bridge that brings us all together. Like sport, the Olympics was like founded on that, like to bridge gaps. So I do think everybody needs to be reminded of that going into international play next year.
And let's shout out the New Zealand team for bringing us
Oh,
all back together the next day. That I'll never forget about that. And
Beautiful.
again, just the emotions of, I think we felt every emotion possible that week.
Which we've talked about that, but go look at our TikTok if you want to see the video of that. Yeah, that was beautiful. On a happier note, let's talk about Prague quickly. What was your favorite part? What pops into your head when you think about Prague?
oh my gosh. I loved Prague. I swear, like every single time I go to another Euro, whatever, it just gets better. Czech, the whole country loved it. Prague, awesome place. I will be going back there. Gosh, it was just so fun. I loved the little area we were in. I think as I keep on going international, I figure out my routines and what things work in international countries and how I can stay on top of just the things that work for me. And so I keep on getting better at that. Like I'll need a Coke here and there or
An
a
energy
cappuccino.
drink.
Our
Yeah,
monster, our
yeah,
rain.
yep. One forgot about the rain in Canada. Yep. Anything I can get my hands on pretty much, like that's gonna help. But the whole coaching staff, like they're so fun to be around. Everybody. It gets to be so much fun. And, that was kind of my first time hanging out with everybody after the tournament got done. We went out and saw Prague more after and just having those experiences with people that I literally only see once a year, I think is just the coolest thing ever. Like me and Edith, we barely talk in between, Prague.
Until train camp
No,
or that you
exactly.
guys won't say.
But you don't
Exactly.
miss a beat. You don't miss a beat. And yeah.
I mean, hell, we were crying on the outside of little softball fourplex for a half hour in Vancouver. And they're like, all right, peace out.
See you in
And
a few
we show
months.
up in Prague in a couple months. And we're like, oh, hey, like, you want to go out for a little bit? And knowing that, like, she's now getting the college experience, I'm so excited for her to be at Virginia.
I can't wait to see her this next time and just see what college
Oh
is
my goodness. I
or done
cannot
for.
imagine. I cannot imagine.
I'm excited.
It's going to be so much fun.
Also, Prague, I felt probably like the saddest that I was leaving because I feel like I think we've met great people at every single tournament, but there was something different about Prague where like I felt like we got so close with like the support staff
Security.
that we had there.
Yes.
Denisa.
Security. Shout out Denisa. Let's send
Oh
her
my
this pod.
gosh.
But I definitely felt the most sad like leaving those people, which just shows you kind of the culture of our team and stuff and connecting with people. And also shout out to Prague, like super supportive of the Jewish people. I didn't feel really like scared to talk about my Judaism in Prague, so that was also a plus for me.
Yeah. And shout out to security guards everywhere. I remember specifically Prague and Poland, like having conversations with the security guards as we'll get like some big guys or even
Big Joe.
yeah, like they're all of them that we get, like they're big guys. They've seen some things. But then you get talking to them a little bit as the week
They're
progresses.
little
Oh
sweethearts.
They're just
my
puppies on the inside.
it is
Are.
the
Yeah.
best to start talking to them and get them to laugh. Oh my gosh, it's
Maddie
so
has a different perspective. Okay, Tara.
No, not in a bad
Well,
way. I
no,
just
bad one.
separate.
Tara, the whole time we were in Prague, I was like, oh my God, did you hear about like Ito's third cousin twice removed and his blah blah blah? And Maddie's like, I need separation. If they're gonna protect me, I don't want to know anything about them.
no way.
No, no, it's not that cutthroat. It's like
I'm exaggerating, but I mean, that
thank
was
you.
the basis of what you.
I don't know. I just am like, I'm here with my team and like I got business to do, you know. It's a business trip here. We're not out here picking daisies with our security guards at the end of it. It doesn't work
And
like
I want to pick daisies with them at the end.
But hey, love them. Like at the end of the tournament, sure. Like, you know, I can get there, but during the tournament, I don't know. I'm a little bit, I gotta have the separation.
Yeah, that's
That
fair.
makes sense.
Thank
But I
you.
guess I'm also coming from the perspective of my dad is a cop. So like I've always felt that way my entire life. And he's just like all of them. Like he's seen some things, but then like he's the sweetest guy. So I think yeah, that definitely changes perspectives there.
And they're so mysterious, and I just like
In the beginning, especially.
Yes.
Yoel, like all like they're like multiple duplicates of
I
Yoel.
just I really enjoy getting to know them. Like that's like getting to know the support staff in each country is like one of my favorite parts. Maddie.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Good, thank you.
Okay, last question, and then we can wrap, but I think it's important to touch on like who we are as people. So give us a little bit on what you're studying at Creighton and what you want to do down the road, even if it means playing professional softball.
Yes. So I'm studying international business right now. Last year, it didn't require me to do much more besides just a normal business degree. Here, I will study abroad for a semester, I believe. I would like that to take me back
You
to
know
Israel.
where?
I think they pretty much just told me I could go wherever I wanted. We'll
Okay.
see where that work if that works out or not. So I would like that to lead me back to Israel because that would be a very fun semester. I'm definitely doing a lot more studying and schoolwork than I've ever done before. I definitely can't be going to bed late anymore. I'm waking up at like 5 every day with weights and whatnot. But after this, main goal, stay healthy, play ball as long as possible. You know, I don't, wherever the wind takes me, if I stay here in Omaha, if I go back home to Iowa, if I end up in Israel, if I end up somewhere else, you know, I know I'll find a home. Job wise, I don't really know. I wouldn't be opposed to, you know, maybe working on the international sector for an American company in Israel or Europe, anything like that. Or I know I can always go back to Des Moines and give lessons with my now hitting coach and kind of do that conjoined with him, you know, and I think just not having anything set right now is appealing.
That's the way to go. You're talking to two people that don't have anything set. So, and we're doing pretty good.
More so me than you, Z.
I still feel like I'm not really set, but we support you in not having a plan.
Hey, it all works out. Like, be a good person, treat people the right way, continue to work hard, good things happen. I truly believe in that. Life pays you back in the best way.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, that's all
Any,
I got. Z, you got anything?
no, any last words for the pod, Tara?
No, I am just excited to see whatever else pops up on the TikTok. Even though I
Oh,
did
wait.
delete it now that I'm thinking about it, I deleted TikTok.
No,
So
I
if you
know.
do upload anything, you need to text me.
Okay, well, there's been lots since your viral video.
Oh, no, no, I've seen those. I
That thing
just
went
like
viral.
that.
Quick shout out to Tara. She really helped Shalom Slugger's TikTok gain some traction. And I'm not going to tell you what it is so that you all go look at it. But she's the video with like 600,000 views or something like that.
When she mentioned the volleyball athleticism, this really is
Well,
like
and I
makes
had
sense now. It makes sense. Like full pancake, you know?
Yeah.
I had two freshmen right off the bat. Like they're kind of like, oh, wait, oh, I think we saw you on our TikTok.
Let's
And I'm like,
go.
and knowing me now, they're like, no, that's totally a you thing. That makes total sense that
So
that was you. I was like, oh my gosh. All right. Yep, I'll take that.
Do you have Instagram? Because some of it gets duplicated.
Okay, well, I just shut down Instagram as well. It's
And we're
all
being responsible. She's a sophomore in college now. Things happen.
yeah, she's
Respect.
good for socials.
we're trying.
Well,
Right, T. Well, thanks for sharing your story. I'm glad we got it on the books and figured it out. This was incredible. I feel like that's also what's so fun about doing this for Z and I is we like learn more and more about our teammates too. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what you do this year. And we're definitely gonna be following along.
Yes. Thank you for having me. This was very fun. Glad it finally worked out. Yeah.
cool. That's a wrap.